All right, and welcome back for the episode of Carnivore Trades. Today is Friday, July 12th, 2024. If you're not done so already, please give the video a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com for swing trading alerts, analysis, and live day trading. Again, not to plug it too much, but absolutely the trade of the year here for sure in the RTY, specifically an active trader. So if you're interested in that, easily could have paid for like probably a lifetime worth of the service over the last 2 days, just from this. But what a monster move here. So I'm still speechless at it. I mean, I knew we were going to have a good bid, but a absolute monster breakout there on the Russell 2000, and that is leading this market higher. 1.2% gain for the IWM. That is a new 52-week high, closing high, and a new 2-year closing high on the weekly. So very good price action here for the Russell 2000. And again, that's what I think you want to be in now is not doesn't have to be small caps, but anything that's heavily shorted, anything that's hated is going to do well. I think there's a little risk in tech right now. Not like saying we're going to crash or anything, but I think there's a little risk in kind of like chips and big tech. We have Netflix kicking off earnings next week. I did actually cut this for a small gain yesterday and today actually. There's a little uncertainty. I think we're going to see some call decay into tech going into next week. Remember, it is OPEX, and there's not a lot of economic data next week, so I would expect neutral to upside still. Don't expect a ton of downside unless we get some news. But even then, as long as we're above 55, I think we're fine here. You can put in another higher low if they want to. Yeah. So yesterday I told you guys like watch. Everybody's going to tell the engulfing candle, but you gotta pay attention to volume. So unless you're getting 100 million shares on SPY or close to it, you can discard it. So again, right here we had a decent uptick, 76 million. This one here, 57 million. I told you guys a lot of people were here like that's it. We're going down. I said buy the dip. But then you see the difference here, right? Look at this one, right? You have real volume there, right? 96 million. So that's 100 million. And it was also followed by a few other heavy distribution days prior to that where we just made a slight new high, right? That's a big difference, right? Big difference. And that's why we're easily able to just knock this out, that level out. Now we are seeing a little bit of a pullback here as we get towards the end of the day. This is just the gamma boys here. There was a lot of gex up at 56.50, and let me see if I can get that up for you. Well, I can't. So anyway, you'll just have to take my word for it. There was gex at 56.50, and it got pushed off of there. Now it's around 56.20. So again, we'll see. We'll probably close right in that area, 15 to 20. That was a resistance level we had marked this morning. By the way, really good trade on ES this morning too in the trading room. I did not think we'd have a trend day. We did though, and market's still holding up, but we are seeing some profit taking here. So in any case, markets are okay. A little bit of risk in tech. We are coming into earnings a little bit. We had banks this morning. JPM was fine, although it did come down. Citigroup down 1.7, and then Wells was the worst, down 5, but it did come off the lows. XLF, on the other hand, was green, right? I told you about Berkshire. Nice wedge and nice breakout. So bank's fine. KRE is fine. Looks strong. Big breakout. KBE is strong. No real problems here. And as long as the Russell is leading, you're not going to find me getting bearish. Now, it is a little extended here. I talked about 215 being a target. Again, I thought that would be next Friday, not today. So pretty good bid there for IWM. And I still think this can get up to 220, 225. So it's not that far away now. That doesn't mean it won't have to do some backing and filling, but very good price action here. There is the bell. And yeah, what a move here. Oh, by the way, Dow 40K. Hey, there we go. Close it above by 1 point. So new all-time high for the Dow. And I think we made, oh, wow, they really did that. That's un-American. So they closed it below the previous weekly high by 2 points there. Well, either way, Dow holding up. And speaking of breadth, since we got to talk about it, RSP here on breakout. We talked about this wedge. And I suggested that that little dip down there was just a dip and a false kind of like probe. And that's obviously been the case. That's basically at all-time highs now too. So very good move here for equal weight. The Qs, yeah, equal weight Qs, new all-time high, new all-time weekly closing high also. So breadth, huge improvement here. It's probably changed, but oh no, it's not too bad. So even with that little dip there into the close, and we came off the lows there, even that dip there into the close, we still finished with 400 advancers. So very good breadth here. Pretty good heat map. What's the only weak stuff? Semis and Mag 7. So again, markets are acting well. And again, OPEX next week, not a lot of economic data, so not a lot of things that can take this down. I think there'd be a little bit more risk in the market as we get closer to that Fed meeting post OPEX. Again, it's going to take a lot to unpin this here. So market's still acting well, but we may see some call decay in tech, especially into earnings. And I think chips are a little bit of a risk. I'd be taking profits up here on that. But again, markets are fine right now. We're above 55. I think there's no technical. I mean, there's definitely isn't any technical damage. So, all right, Qs here again. If we do back off, look at 480 in this trend line here. Russell, we talked about that. This may come back down and try to back test 210 or something like that, but I'm still looking for 220, 225. Diamond, new all-time high, new all-time closing high. It's fine. It's on breakout. The YM closed right on that wedge. Maybe it pulls back a little bit, but I think that can push through there. SMH, again, a little bit of distribution volume, right? So this does have distribution, right? The SPY doesn't really have it. You got to be 100 million. SMH, though, I think that's definitely an uptick. It doesn't mean we can't make a new high, but I think they're getting a little top heavy up here. Cloud with a nice day, up 90 cents on the IGV, still holding the 20 MA. I think this needs to consolidate a little bit, maybe for a week or two, and then I think that can push. So Cloud, okay. Dow Transport's on breakout as well, above this trend line here. Technically, you could make, technically that's an inverse head and shoulders. It's kind of wonky, right? Real tight right shoulder. We don't have to call it that. We can just say it's a trend line break. But what does matter is you have a higher high, right? I've been talking about that. We got to get above these pivots, and we did. So still some resistance up in this zone here around 15.6, 15.8 with that pivot and that breakdown. So if it goes up there, it's probably going to need to pull back and digest a little bit, right? Because this is a failed bull flag, right? There was a lot of buyers up here, and they got hosed, right? So they're going to turn into sellers. It's going to take some time to get through that, but price action wise, it's acting well. So Dow Transport's hanging in there. Rates, and this is something I talked about on Twitter today too. Like yesterday, so I didn't even mention PPI yet. PPI beating estimates by, I think, like 100%. I think it was like 2 basis point. It was 4 versus 2 in month over month, and then like 3 versus 2.5 expected. I think that was core. Either way, I joked about this with members yesterday. I said, like, watch PPI come in hot just because CPI came in cool yesterday. The coldest print since 2020. Oh, we're having deflation. Oh, recession. The yield curve's and then what happens today? PPI just does the exact opposite. And the Russell doesn't even care. So again, figure that one out. What's the macro case here, right? What's the macro case for the Russell rallying on hot PPI? It doesn't matter, right? So stop listening to these goons that are trying to chase the recession trade, the not recession trade. Yields are absolutely wrecking both sides right now. A lot of people were short yields or long bonds down here. They got hosed. A lot of people got long yields up here. They got hosed. I think we're getting close to another yield pop. So doesn't mean it won't go a little lower. I think the 30-year maybe get down to 4.2, 10 maybe to 4, but I don't think we're going much lower there. And by the way, yesterday and today, so the yield curve's unwinding. Well, the 210 a little bit, yeah, it is starting to curl back up, but the 3-month is still, it inverted by another 8 basis points over the last 3 days. So how is that being fixed? Another thing, yesterday, the big deflation print. Why is oil green? So don't listen to these goons. They're always wrong. They're just good fades. But yeah, I say that to say that rates are kind coming down. Yield curve is unwinding a little bit. But I think the trade right now is you want stuff that's hated and heavily shorted. Because I think we're getting close to short seller fear, which a breadth increase can definitely make that happen. Also could be what takes the market down eventually, but we're not there yet, and that can play out for a few weeks, maybe even months. Anyway, XHB, another strong week, came off the highs by the end of the day, but okay, it was up 10% in 3 sessions, so it's allowed to do that. I told you there was 2 ways to look at this. One was a daily bear flag, but if the weekly is not confirming, right, you want to look to the other way, and you kind of had a weekly bull flag look. I was really hoping it would get down there, though. I was hoping we could get down to like 93 or so. That would have been a good buy, but very nice move for XHB. VNQ, again, we talked about this flag pattern. It's sloppy. It's not like a tight flag. You don't have an inside bar, but it's still like a flag pattern. Good follow through on the breakout. Nice move. Sector I don't talk about a lot. XBI, that was on breakout too. Hated. Really hated. Why? Because it hasn't done anything in forever. But you got a nice like monthly pattern here. Another one I talked about recently a little bit, XLP. This is getting interesting. You got a daily bullish inside bar. Failed wedge breakdown, right? But you still got the bull flag look on the weekly. That's tight. I like that. So some sectors coming up. All right, where did we leave off? So we had bank earnings. Wells down 6, although it came off the lows. Who cares about Wells? JPM down 1.2, Citigroup down 1.8. None of them really, well, I didn't even say Wells didn't even really do damage. It kind of did damage with the lower low there, but it didn't take out these lows. But even with Citi down, it didn't really do damage, and neither did JPM. And everybody's favorite, Buffy Boy, on breakout here. Why am I bringing that up? Because it's the largest holding in XLF, which was green today, even with those weak bank earnings. And I said, look, XLF sloppy here. Remember this head and shoulders that I told you would fail? And it did. Why? Because the weekly is not confirming it. Just bull consolidation. KRE weekly breakout. Hated sector. KBE, hated sector, weekly breakout, monthly breakout. Beautiful price action. That's going to 52.50. Broker dealers, new all-time high, new all-time closing high. Oil, oil's interesting to me here. I had a short, I got a really good, I mean, definitely a great entry. It's 84.30, and the high of the day was 38. So it was a great short. This is supposed to be a day trade, but I had a runner that I held all the way down into the low 80s. And I covered it on Wednesday because we held that 20 MA and we got back above that green bar. And I said, okay, this might want to come back. It was red today, but if this can just like stay firm here, I mean, technically you still have bullish inside bar. And you're above the 20 and the 50 and all the moving averages. So if this could just stay firm, I could see it going up again. Seasonally, right? I've been saying that shouldn't happen, but seasonal doesn't really mean anything. Like it's just a guideline, right? Chart's the chart, just like RSP, right? Everybody wanted to tell me, oh, the macro this, the macro that. The breadth is terrible. I'm like, but this is still a bull pennant. It's the QQQE is still a ascending wedge that's at all-time highs, and now the RSP is basically at all-time highs too. So defer to the chart, like don't fight it. It's telling you, I can say, I think oil is going to go lower because of this macro thing, or I think oil is going lower because of seasonality, but if the chart's saying it's not, then don't fight that. So again, this could also just be a lower high too, but just pointing that out. Interesting above 81.38, as long as it's above that on a daily close, it's still technically bullish inside bar. You are above the moving averages too. XLE, good bid today, although it came off the highs, in the morning, and then it's holding up. This can be a higher low. I like it all the way up to probably about 95. Same thing with XOP, although I think that's probably going to stall out around 151, 152. And then the OIH is the best one. Really wishing I had bought one of these. I talked about them a lot. I played them back earlier this year, made some nice money. technically that inside bar failed too, and it's still bidding up. But you know, you got a higher low here if you can get through this big reversal bar. This has some upside. I think this is going a lot higher in the big picture. This is a fat monthly inside bar here. And you might say, well, you can't trade the monthly pattern. Yeah, you can. You absolutely can. You could have traded KBE and made a ton of money now. It just takes some time. But energy, getting a little bit here. This is also a very hated sector. CCJ, nothing doing, but I had that big surge on Wednesday, and the weekly is still very strong. I've been telling you that. There's no changes on uranium ever. So the only thing that's going to get me to change is if we close below, you know, this level on URNM or NJ. Otherwise, we can just go higher, and this is all just bull consolidation. Again, monthly bull pattern. So, nat gas, doing nat gas things. And it looks like sellers are absolutely exhausted here. Again, seasonally, right? Typically, you get the peak in June, early June, mid-June. Said, don't be long up here. And that was the right call. It went, basically collapsed. Now is kind of the area where it tends to bottom out seasonally and then slowly grinds back up to August and then really takes off September, October. November, you get that late year rally. But right now, it didn't get defended here. You could argue that like they kind of spiked this low. I mean, they did spike the low today and then close it above. So you could have trapped some shorts. I just don't love it enough to be in it in either capacity. If it can firm up, I still think it can go to 250, 260. I would not dare short it at these levels. You're down from 320 to 220. So that's just the worst type of chasing. But, you know, we'll see what we get next week. You know, if it can break back above, you know, 238, definitely 240, it should rally. But I'm not interested in it at the moment. Dollar index down 33 basis points. So pretty weak session. But, you know, again, it held the trend line by the end of the week. You can see right there. Let me use a weekly. There you go. And again, I'm going to say this over and over, but as long as it's above 103.88 on a weekly close, you still have weekly bull consolidation inside bar. If it fails, I think it can go a lot lower. Gold, still pretty strong, although it had a, you know, was down, but there's nothing wrong with that. Big surge yesterday, inside hammer, no problems. You like that if you're bullish. I was thinking this would be more of a trade towards August, but it looks really strong right now. Maybe this is a fake out and they work it back. A lot of people getting giddy, you know, that can happen. But I will tell you, I told you this the other day, that is the best confirmation you could possibly have. And I love yesterday how they took it down in the morning and then just said, nope. That is a power pattern on GDX. So when the miners are leading the metal, and we talked about this a few months ago, miners making higher highs versus gold not making higher highs. I was like, that I haven't seen that in years, like probably decades, outside of small, you know, one-off situations. But when it was consistently doing that, very good price action. That's very bullish. So GDX on breakout, XJ, AU, lower high there, but I think FNB is still struggling. FNB coming back. But yeah, good moves here. Silver miners, again, just off of the highs, right? SILJ into double top, but silver has not gotten there. So again, they're leading. By the way, a little dip today, but this is still inside bar bullish. Silver's fine. I told you guys, it just needs to let that moving average catch up on the weekly. And the same thing with gold, and that's what it's doing. So metals look pretty good. Platinum with the higher lows still. I think this is coiling up. It's getting ready. It's been trying here. I like the higher high, higher lows. So that's looking good. Palladium still got that double bottom look. Maybe could get a WV. Right, so W, and then your higher low is the V. Again, it's something for tucking away. I wouldn't look to swing trade it really. It's too thin and it's unpredictable, and it can do stuff like this or like that. But I mean, just looking where it is, like, I just can't not like it. where, looking at where gold is right now. All right, copper, a good day. So it reversed the sell from yesterday, and you held inside bar, so it's still holding up. Held the 20 MA. Again, I always forget this stupid number. 76 and 87, we'll call it. So those are your next levels there on copper futures. If it can go up, if it rolls over, then I don't know. You're probably looking at least 420. But I think there would be a viable dip if that got down there. You see the weekly. Yeah, the weekly's fine. That's actually not bad. So big move inside, kind of a hammer looking candle. Pretty good. All right, let's get over to Bitcoin. I did close my Bitcoin for a small gain. So full disclosure here. The reasoning behind this, I have a buy signal on this. I told you guys the worst case scenario with this would be it just goes sideways all week. That's kind of what happened. So the buy signal held it up, but it's not following through, right? So that's my cue to just get out. It could still go up. You have a micro little daily bull flag here, but it's inside of a bigger bear flag. Germany's selling, I guess, yesterday. That was the thing. I can tell you right now, just from watching it, I know there's a seller sitting right here. Right? So every time we go up there, somebody's purposely whacking it down. So I think like my algos, my buy signal, the algos were in unison with that, or trading off of that because it tried to rally. And somebody's pushing it down. I don't know if there's GEX or something like that. Maybe for next Friday, OPEX, that could be a game that's already being played. 60,000 is a whole round number. So, it wouldn't surprise me if they want it below that. But I just, de-risked it, took a small gain, and you just move on. That's how you get out of those types of trades. Why? Because, over the weekend, no volume, they could pull some crap and just dump it. So it's not worth it. But I'm neutral on it right now. We'll see what it does. Still have a big picture weekly bull pattern here, so it's still okay until it's not. So again, markets here. Let's see where we close. Yeah, right at 15. So, again, markets pulling back off the highs there. It was actually a pretty good drop by the end of the day, but overall things are fine here. IWM is leading. That's all that really matters. Unless we get a high volume sell, just assume that dips are going to be bought here for the foreseeable future, especially going to OPEX next week. So anyways, guys, I'm going to wrap up here. You guys have a great weekend. Take care. Thank you guys all, and I will see you guys all next week.